This is Brownie's Podcast!
Yes, degenerates, hello. It is Brownie's Podcast. Jonathan Brown, Campbell Brown, myself, Dean Thomas. What a damn round. What is Mason Cox doing? What is that?
What a round of football. What a round of football, degenerates.
We might have a brand new premiership favourite, which is a ludicrous thing to say after one round. What happened to the Lions? It was nuts. Campbell, how you doing?
I'm going great. I think the opening round 0, had everything that we possibly could have wanted. Some great games. Unfortunately for some, there were some injuries. There was the same woes at Melbourne that we've been speaking about for 2 years. There was unusual behaviour from Mason Cox.
Oh, we'll get to that. John, you're back in Brisbane now, but tell us about your travel day, you psychopath.
Oh, unbelievable. I'm really keen to get an update on what happened to the cricket yesterday. So,
yes.
First of all, I'll give you the reason as to why I wasn't tuned into the cricket, because I had to come down to do it on the couch. So, like I said last week, my dear wife, Kylie, she's had an operation, so been on bed rest, so I'm having to look after her. So a bit of travel, a bit of up and back. So I thought I'm going to try and slip in on the couch yesterday afternoon. So I was scheduled to leave at 1:15, Queensland time. Well, that got delayed by 3 hours. So I'm starting to think things might get a little bit tight. 7:30 record, goes live an hour on the couch. Then we're going all right, and then we get put in a holding pattern for half an hour around Melbourne Airport. I'm thinking, this is starting to get real tight. We land at 6:30 p.m. I hightail it into work, and I remember I've got no. Well, I had the Hilux. The Hilux of dreams, Dino.
Wait, do you just keep the Hilux at the airport?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And, it's all right.
Different setup.
He's parked it illegally. There's tickets on the windscreen's covered in tickets. He doesn't give
I'll never tell you where the loading zones are at Melbourne Airport. That's a secret. Anyway, I remember that I haven't got... It's a hot day. I've got no jeans. I've got no shoes. So I have to drop by, grab some shoes, grab some jeans. I get into work. I walk into work 7:15. On air, 7:30. G'day to Bucks.
Okay.
G'day, Gaz. They were all fired up, ready to go. They had their take on football. 8:30. All done. Finished. Uber was he a taxi driver waiting at the front. Back to the airport. I'm on a 9:15 Jetstar flight.
You're insane.
I arrive at Melbourne Airport at 9 o'clock. Now, this poor bastard who's got 8 kids, he put his licence on the line for me. I said, I'm in a hurry. But I thought I was in a Formula One race. He got me there at 9 o'clock. I go through security, Dino. I'm flying Jetstar. And as you know, it's a long run to Melbourne Airport from the actual security gates to the Jetstar gate. Gate 42. It says the gate is closed. It says the gate is closed. And I thought, no, I'm not going to let that stop me. So I charged through Melbourne Airport, a 300-metre sprint, as quick as I've ever gone in all my life. Security guard pulled me up, by the way, on the way through security for no reason. I had my keys. That was it.
Did he check
He was bored shitless. He just had to pull someone to get his quota up.
Sure.
So anyway, I continue on. I get to the gate.
Yes.
The gate's still open. They're just boarding. I make the flight. I make it home last night. There you go.
Mate, that's huge. That's insane, by the way. Would you ever do that again?
No, probably not.
What are you doing? That's crazy.
But I got home, got the kids off to school this morning. So, Brown Dog, I missed the cricket.
Well,
yesterday.
the cricket was unbelievable because we were in strife. Australia are playing New Zealand down there in New Zealand. And we were 3 for 30-ish. Mitch Marsh came in, resurrected the middle order. Alex Carey put on one of the great knocks. We lost a couple of wickets. It got shaky again. And finally, we could breathe a sigh of relief because Pat Cummins, who is arguably the best cricketer in this country at the moment, not only doing it with the ball, but he also makes some really important runs, was out there. And they were guiding the ship. We needed 2 runs. There was 1 ball left in the over. I'm thinking to myself, this will be one of the great moments because Alex Carey's on 98.
Yep.
He needs 2 runs to make his 100.
And we need form too, Brown Dog.
Exactly. He's been struggling and we need 2 runs to win the test.
So we're about to see a win and someone get their ton in one stroke.
Unheard of. Big. Unprecedented. It could have happened at the Gabba earlier in the summer when Steve Smith was on par to make 100 and also hit the winning runs, but we got bowled out and the West Indies won that famous test. And Pat Cummins had safely negotiated 3 or 4 balls, right? I'm thinking this is unbelievable leadership from the skipper. He's going to block this. He's going to let it go. The over's going to be at the end of the over. Alex Carey's going to face the next ball. Hit it 2, we win.
They'll hoist him up.
Oh, they'll hoist him up, raise the bat, kiss the helmet. Like, what a way to bring it up.
Yes.
And Pat Cummins flays at one outside off stump that he could have left. Hits a 4. And that's it. We win the test, yes. But poor old Alex Carey's stuck on 98 down the other end.
What?
JB, you've been the captain of the Brisbane Lions.
What?
You're a leader through and through, mate. That's the equivalent of a player being on 99 goals, right? And in the last quarter,
Taking him off the ground.
a couple of players just jumping in front of him, taking some of his opportunities to kick goals, running into an open goal and not handballing it to him.
Oh, no.
Taking the glory for yourself.
Man, like, Jonathan, what is this man thinking?
Well, I think they were just so desperate, weren't they? Were they 5 for 90, Brown Dog?
Yep, in trouble.
And obviously, Mitch Marsh has fought his way back. Alex Carey led it. Pat Cummins was sensational. But is it just desperation stakes at that stage? You go, we're at the summit, which is something you don't know much about, Brown Dog, because obviously you got nowhere near the summit. When
Shot
you tried
fired.
to climb it in Argentina.
Shot fired.
But is that the case where they're not even thinking of what's going on up the other end? It's not as bad as years ago when England were playing Australia at the MCG. You remember a batsman called Graham Hick?
Yes, of course.
Graham Hick, yeah, and he was a 98, and his captain declared
What?
because he wanted to have a bit of a run at Australia late in the day. He declared on 98, so at the end of the day, they won the test. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, you're right, and that's all that matters. And Pat Cummins has said in the press conference he didn't even know that Alex Carey was on 98. He was just watching the runs to win column.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's fair, but it would have been a nice Australian moment.
Mate, it is. I understand that there's a different column, but it's on the scoreboard.
Yeah,
it says 98.
It does.
It's a bit strange, John.
Yeah, well, yeah, he would have got he's already made 1 test century. 2 would be nice. But, yeah, I wonder whether there's a bit of, what's the word, dirty eye or side eye.
Sour grapes in the change rooms?
Sour grapes in the
You'd
change
ask the
rooms.
question. You'd say, mate, what were you thinking?
Over a couple of beers late in the night.
Yeah.
They'd have to
They all
talk
sit
about
around and sing. Yeah, absolutely. They all sit around to sing the song. Because, in the Australian cricket rooms, you're not allowed to leave the rooms until the song has been sung.
Is it under the Southern Cross?
It's under the Southern Cross,
Yeah.
and there's a team leader. Now, I think it's still Nathan Lyon, isn't it? Unless he's handed it down. But you cannot leave the rooms. So if the team leader wants to sit around till 2 o'clock in the morning and hasn't decided to sing the song with the team,
Yeah.
none of the other boys can leave because famously, Michael Clark, who was the captain years ago, I think he was the captain. He wanted to leave
And go on James Packer's boat.
Go and catch up with his mates in Sydney because they were playing at the SCG.
Go to
They've
Noosa.
ended up in a dust-up with Simon Kadich. He blew up. He said, come on, hurry up and sing the song because a few of the young blokes wanted to go out. And Simon Kadich grabbed him by the throat.
Yeah, the skipper. It didn't go
That
down
was the
well.
Australian cricket captain, all because the song hadn't been sung, and that's the tradition. So I wonder if Alex hung around for the song.
How
I
does this
love
magic
Simon
song
Kadich
go?
because of that. Under the Southern Cross. I'm not too sure, but it's very famous. Never
Under the Southern Cross we stand.
doesn't get filmed. It doesn't.
Something like
It's
that.
it's very private.
Did you
It's
just
inner
make-
sanctum stuff.
You just make that shit up, John. What just
Yeah.
go?
Booney used to be the man, and Booney would stand on the table with the can in his hand and would start the Under the Southern Cross.
There
the
is
rendition.
no
How good's
more.
that?
I can't think of a more erotic image than what you just described. Let's go back to the footy. That was really nice. I didn't notice that all the Demons players touched the helmet before they got out for Angus. That was really nice. I saw that just today, actually.
Great touch. Good little bit of motivation there from the whoever came up with it, whether it was the playing group or the coaching staff. And he obviously is their brother. They couldn't be out there with him due to the concussion. So no, I like that. Same woes for Melbourne. They just continue to bomb the ball inside their forward 50. They've been losing the same way the last few years, and it's a concern. Van Rooyen wasn't up to scratch. But
Come on, Brown Dog. We spoke about this on Friday. We're not redoing Thursday night's game again, are we?
We're certainly not, but we're going to redo Friday night's and Saturday night's game because how good were GWS? They were unbelievable.
No, we're stopping at Brisbane first because it does feel like a week ago, but I haven't spoke to you, Jonathan. What on God's green earth happened?
Well, it was hard, yeah. Well, the night didn't start off great because I tried to get in. I was working, and I had my daughter and her mate, Tiggy, with her. So Liv and Tiggy were there. They wouldn't let the girls in. with me through the side entrance, the media entrance. So security wanted to make a stand. It was actually, in fairness, it was a 75-year-old grandmother. She was running security, and she said, no, you cannot come in here. And I thought, do I have to go to, don't you know who I am? I didn't do that. So I then went and tried another gate. I couldn't get in. So the girls went off with a friend of mine who works for the Brisbane Lions. So in the meantime, I'm starting to get on my high horse, Dino, and I'm starting to get a bit shirty with the security guards.
Yes.
I'm starting to say, where's the common sense? Man, I've got Fox ringing me going, we've got a meeting. Where are you?
You're blowing up.
We're waiting for Gaz and Bucks and Geordie. You're holding up the meeting?
At the
Gabba. I said, well, I'm holding up the meeting because they won't let my daughter in. I can't let my 14-year-old daughter out on the street. So in the meantime, I walk around, bugger it. I go up. The girls are just going to have to be fine with my friend. I get up onto the stage. I'm telling them, I'm launching into the story going, I can't get the girls in. They go, is that the girls out in the ground? I turn around. There's Olivia and her mate, Tigey, walking out in the middle of the Gabba.
How'd they get out there?
Well, my friend who's got the Lions connection just walked them straight through the Brisbane Lions rooms.
Oh, so it was
Lived
just
in full Carlton gear and then walked them out into the Gabba.
So it was just one person on a power trip with a security guard. Just one person.
No power. I've got no power anymore at the Gabba. But, hey, what a comeback it was. Brisbane gave Carlton the opportunity late in the second and the third quarter through mistakes. But credit to Carlton, they took the opportunity. When the gate opened, Brown Dog, they went through the gate. And they were fantastic. Kerno was magnificent. Mackay was great, the way he embraced the moment, and he stared the Dragon in the face, boys.
Yes.
Exactly what you said he needed to do.
Yes.
And that can set up his whole season now. That one moment, kick the goal he needed to kick, and you can launch a really successful goal-kicking season on the back of the confidence that'll give Harry Mackay.
He stared the Dragon at the Dragon that hard that Dragon pissed itself.
Yeah, he did.
You know?
Yeah.
He took that pressure.
He would have been anxious, wouldn't he, Dino? But I loved his body language. Well, he had a routine for starters. That's a big difference, boys. Because all you can fall back on is habit. And you've got to train that habit, for better or worse, because under pressure, a bad habit or a good habit will rear its head.
Isn't it?
Bad habits turn to nightmares.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Someone sung that once.
That's nice. Hey, why is it so that the Lions could not stop the bleeding until the Blues got in front? Did you notice that? Like, they were an unstoppable force until mentally they got in front, and then the game went even again.
Yeah, it shows maturity, JB, from the Carlton Footy Club, because in years gone past, if you're getting absolutely opened up in the middle and scored against and everything, it's very hard to change momentum in quarters and in games. You go on and lose that by 10 goals.
Shell shock too at half time, Brown Dog, and we've been a part of this. We're a really important player, if not the most important player, has a serious injury seconds before half time. Now, I know the playing group were made aware of it at half time. They were aware that Kitty Coleman does the ACL, who's become the most important player. He does similar damage that Nick Dacos can do off the halfback flank at Collingwood. So Brisbane came out and played like it for the first 15 minutes. They completely lost all their tackling pressure. Harris Andrews was dropping marks. The Lions players were missing kicks. They were just making mistakes. Like I said, credit to Carlton for taking the opportunity, because the opportunity did present itself, and not a lot of teams do take that. But I think that had a big impact on the team, and it just took a while to correct themselves.
Also, how sick did the Blues fans look in those Blues Brothers costumes? I think it's cool.
They're Brisbane-based, Dino.
Are they?
Yeah, so I reckon that wave could take off Australia-wide, don't you think?
And if you look at them closely, like from afar, it looks like they're all in suits. But if you look closely, they're like $20 shitty costume internet buys. But man, hey, bit of fun.
Bit of fun. I know, I like it. And if it does take off, it could become a thing.
Absolutely.
I love when those things take off, like... you've got that.
Your
If
Richie
that could
Benos
get going,
in the
you can see the GWS ones. They've got now the high-vis jackets, the orange high-vis
Really?
jackets. Yeah, the old shitty high-vis jackets, and now everyone's wearing them in the GWS crowd.
That's
it looks
unbelievable.
good, the sea of orange.
Now, I want to get to Mason Cox. We'll do it after the ads. We'll just go through Collingwood in general, though. Last night on the couch, you and Gaz seemed to imply that they're mentally still a bit pre-season-y, John. A little bit lazy in parts, the reigning premiers.
Geez, Gaz was strong, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's a good pickup, Dino. He was ready to go. Like in the meeting yesterday morning, he goes, I've got clips, I've got edits.
Mate.
He'd been in the lab all night.
He had
He
receipts.
kicked Lingy. He kicked, not Ling. He kicked King. Where is Lingy, by the way, Brown? Is Lingy out there at Channel 7 this year?
Yeah, he'll be there. But I'm going to make Kingy very well aware that you've just likened him to Lingy.
Yeah, I love Lingy. The pink pig, my old captain at the under-18s, the Falcons. But you're right, Dino. He had a of edits and ready to go, and he gave him a fair old clip, didn't he?
Yeah, the receipts seem to be there.
They played the best side in the competition. There's no doubt about that. The GWS Giants looked absolutely scintillating on every aspect. Their midfield's great. Tommy Green can win a Brownlow medal. Their backline's rock solid. Sam Taylor's arguably the best defender in the comp, and their forward line was just crisp. Callum Brown bobbed up and kicked 5. You had little Daniels bubbling away down there. Jesse Hogan's looks like he's going to have another big year. I think from the small sample size we saw, they're a pretty good team. Yeah, Lockie Whitfield.
What about Brown? He's an Irishman. And, he said he doesn't have a drink. What are the boys like? They try and drag you out of the party, so I've never had a drink.
He's the only
That's
Irishman I've
unbelievable.
ever heard of that doesn't scull pints of Guinness.
Toby
Pints of
Green's
Guinness.
checkside goal was sexy.
Yeah.
It looks so smooth, my God. But, Collingwood, no one's saying they're in trouble, but it looked a bit
Too early for a premiership hangover. Brown Dog's been a part of a premiership hangover. So, but I would have thought you have to go more than 1 week before you sort of write them off as premiership hangover. An interesting point, though, Lee, one of our biggest listener, Lee Matthews, Brandy's podcast, Lee brought up last week, and he brought this up publicly, so I'm not breaking confidence, but it was an interesting observation that Lee made about Collingwood had the big airing of their documentary to go through the 2023 season. It was only released 2 weeks ago. Just where that puts the players in their frame of mind leading into a new season. He wasn't big on that, certainly as a coach. He always liked to move on within 3 or 4 days after the grand final. After one of the grand finals, he gave us the biggest spray of all time on the Wednesday after the grand final.
What?
We're not having our heads into next year.
What?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. He was always moving us towards the next thing. So
Hey,
that was an interesting observation. He just didn't... He queried where Collingwood's heads were at if you're going back and marinating in past glories from 6 months ago.
After you guys won any of those 3, did you see Lethal engage in any bar horseplay? Like any wild behaviour from the great man?
No, he didn't.
Not one bit, John.
The only time is we went to the brewery. We went to the CUB brewery after we won the 2001 grand final, the first one.
Yeah.
And there's a CUB brewery at Yatala, down near the home of Yatala Pies, beside Yatala Pies, actually. Anyone had a Yatala pie? You would have stopped in there a couple of
definitely
times.
stopped, yeah.
Anyway, we went in there and they were striking premiership cans. So all the media was there and the boys were there. We all had the high vis on, a few beers. Well, Lee was bored after about an hour, so he went and sat on the bus. Because they took us back to the brew house. The brew house is just, the bus is parked out the front. We're there just enjoying a few beers.
That was like
Lee's sitting on the bus.
It's like Brown Dog on our bus trip.
I was sick. I was very, very sick.
You were sick.
No, Lee was always well in control. Don't you worry about that.
We're going to take ads and then we're going to talk about Mason Cox. And can someone just explain to me as a dummy what happened? Because I've heard bits and pieces, but I can't believe the story. Also, true or false, BP, you've got a special guest for us.
We've got a very big fan of this podcast, and he's left us a very special voice message.
This is Brownie's Podcast.
Welcome back to Brownie's Podcast. Now, Brody has promised a high-profile special guest, so I'm holding my breath for that. But first of all, someone tell me exactly what happened with Mason Cox, please.
I know exactly what happened with Mason Cox. We needed the whole day to work this out to get the full footage. So Mason Cox and the Collingwood team were practicing their centre bounce work, which every team is allocated 9 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then at the end of the 9 or 10 minutes, obviously you swap over and it's GWS's turn. Well, Mason Cox said to the umpire, can I just have one more throw up as the Giants were moving into that area. Well, at that stage, by the time the umpire throws it up, the Giants players and a couple of coaches are in the area, and he accidentally knocks one of the Giants coaches and just does the hit out, nothing to it.
No.
But the way Channel 7 cut it up, Brown Dog, your station made it out as if it was like Dermot Brereton running through the three-quarter time.
That's what I heard.
Waverley Park against Essendon.
The way people were talking about it, I thought he was doing some wild.
No, he was just being cheeky. Is the word that I would
Horseplay.
describe. A little bit of cheek there.
What do you mean he was being cheeky, mate? He was doing his last bit of preparation. And mate, you've been fooled. You are drinking the Channel 7 Kool-Aid.
You're a cult
Channel
member.
7 have rolled that out yesterday morning, Dino.
You're a filthy
and caused
cult
this massive
member.
hullabaloo. And the first thing you do as analyst, you go and check Mason Cox's stats. You go, shit, he's only had 5 stats and 1 mark. So, you got to back up your actions and all this sort of bullshit.
What a load of.
We get the full bit of vision, and you go, he was just warming up before the game.
Oh, my
And the
gosh.
Giants blokes were just in the area. Now, we know he can be a bit inflammatory at times. He's the big loud
I
mouth
love him.
yank.
I
So
love
do
him.
I. He's a spicy boy.
But, he's a spicy boy, but this time he was probably taken out of context a little bit, I would have thought, Brown Dog.
Yeah, you can.
You apologise,
selectively-
Dog.
Say sorry.
You can selectively edit some stuff.
Apologise
It wasn't
to the
too big.
football community.
He got a bit of a please explain from the AFL. They were just investigating it. There's nothing to see here.
Can
Big
you
Mason.
believe the AFL have given him a please explain
No.
on the back of some cut-down footage that obviously he's getting peddled out in the media?
Jonathan, it's a hit job. It's a classic hit job.
That is it. Brown Dog, apologise. We're not moving on until you officially apologise on behalf of your employer.
Say sorry.
Well, I'm a VFL commentator, so it's got nothing to do with me.
Well, I think so. It's a nothing burger. We're rubber stamping this as a nothing burger, John.
It is an absolute nothing burger for sure. Hey, what about nothing burger, George Hewitt? Happy for him to get a fine, or do you think the AFL's got to make us stand with all his concussions?
No, I was happy with the fine. I think there was nothing too majorly wrong with that. George Hewitt copped the fine and play next week. I'll tell you what is going to be big, though. The loss of Doherty for the Blues, because he's such a good ball winner, half back through the middle, beautiful kick, and unfortunately, he's been an unlucky footballer with his knees. He obviously had the testicular cancer as well. He's a fine leader of that club. Just when they're looking at really making a run for it, he's a big loss for them.
So after he did that, did he get a jab and come back on?
Oh no! Well, I think he didn't know it was an ACL because I had a mate sitting on the plane next to him,
Yeah.
and he said, "What are you up to today?" You know, they're flying back to Melbourne. He goes, "Oh, I've got to go get a scan on my knee, but I should be fine." There was no insinuation from him that it could be the devastating ACL news.
That sucks.
It's had a shocking run. Like the most notable, the most famous one was, I think, probably the early 90s when David Swartz loomed up to Wayne Carey as the best player in the game. Like, he was just taking it all before him. Centre 40 was amazing. He did his knee and then continued to do that same knee 3 or 4 times, I think it was. So Doc's a similar level. Like, Doc's obviously been All-Australian and had a tremendous impact on his team, especially for Carlton. It's just shocking, like, and it was his good knee, wasn't it, Brown Dog?
Oh,
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like I remember playing with Max Bailey, who was a really good footballer, ruckman, obviously from Perth, and he played 8 years and only 43 games. Did his knee at training 1 year. Came back through Box Hill like the very next week after his return game. Did his other knee, and then did his knee again in the AFL playing in that Brad Sewell, Matty Lloyd incident game. He did his knee earlier in that day, and like it just couldn't get a run at it at all. But finished on a fairy tale because he played in the 2013 Premiership, and then retired because of all the issues he had. Some players are just desperately unlucky, Jabe, and we've all probably played with some that just, for whatever reason, their body just can't withstand the rigours of AFL footy, or they're just desperately unlucky.
All right, Broads, I think we're ready for this special guest, man. What can you tell us about this?
Well, obviously we started back last week. That was our first week back, and we were over summer hearing messages from all sorts of people that were like, when's it coming back? When's it coming back? And obviously, said wait for footy season. and we'll come back on. And we have a very high profile listenership. There's obviously Lethal that loves listening to the show. Gary Lyon loves listening to it.
Gary loves it.
CEO Gil McLaughlin,
I don't think
big
Gary's
fan.
ever listened to it. He's
That's
never
not
mentioned
true.
it to me once.
It's not true. He loves it.
Gary Ablett Jr., I do hear, is also a
listens.
fan.
What?
Yep,
Yeah.
I
rumours
heard.
have. But this
I think Matty
particular...
Hayden listens to it as well
I
after
heard-
that Adam Gilchrist story.
I heard Lance Whitnell, big fan.
Lance Whitnell loves it. We love Whitnell, and Whitnell loves it too. But this person was nice enough to reach out and left us a video message, and we'll post it on our Instagram. And he just said he's really excited to be back, and this is what he said.
G'day guys, we're Donato's, a new sponsor, Shit Off Foods. Hello, the old boy. How you going? This is for Warwick Capper's #1 podcast and Browny's #2. Who's the other guy with you? I'm not sure, I haven't heard of him. But anyway, have a great night and come down to Donato's, have a look at his portrait and my new white teeth. I was just in Warrnambool. That's other Jonathan Brown, but there's other Brownie, but who cares? But great podcast and we love you, even though T was #1 in Australia. We love you, boys. And go Sydney tonight. I'm supposed to be there for Hall of Fame dinner, but it's a bit too far, so I'll see you next week, Collingwood, Sydney. Go, boys. Go Donato's, and go Nick and Warwick Capper, and go Brownie, boys.
That's actually the most sense that he's made in a long time.
Oh my God.
Can we have an interpreter?
Oh my God. Jonathan.
Hey,
if-
Donato's, he's obviously getting a free feed at Donato's.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, I want to be very clear about this. In no way am I insinuating that that man has ever done or will do meth. But I am saying, if meth could talk and had a voice, it would sound like Warwick Capper.
I'm surprised he didn't give it a plug to his new establishment.
Oh, yes, that place he purchased in Oakley, which is a professional...
Dancing venue?
Yeah, I believe it's a little more than dancing, but a professional...
Oh, wow.
Hey, did anyone...
That's chilling, by the way.
Whether you
That was
like
chilling.
horse racing or not, did anyone see the Adelaide Cup yesterday? Because one of the funniest things that's ever happened in racing happened.
Yes.
There was a horse called Maid, right? And a young jockey called Zach Spain. It's 3,200 metres, the Adelaide Cup Group 2, right? He got dumped on the way to the stalls, right? He got dumped. So he fell off the horse. He made some adjustments to the saddle. The gates opened. He missed the start by 5 lengths. And then his stirrups, where you put your feet
Yes?
for the horse to control the horse, they came out, the irons, right? So he rode about 3,000 metres,
Stirrupless.
bobbing up on this horse stirrupless, right? Stirrupless.
He's have a sore ass.
And his balls will be earrings. I'm telling you, it'd be the sorest chafe down there of all time. I've never seen anything like it. You sometimes see them lose their stirrups over 1,200 metres, 1,300 metres. They stop riding because you can't control the horse as well as you'd like. You get out of the way and you just look at yourself for safety, basically. He weaved his way through the field. He peeled out on the turn and he made this run.
Yeah.
And he was still trying to win the race. And Zachy Spain finished fourth in one of the greatest performances in Adelaide Cup history. It was unbelievable. He got beaten 3 lengths. The horse would have won the Adelaide Cup by an absolute mile if the jockey hadn't lost his stirrup. But you watch it. It's like riding a rocking horse. God help him. He'll need an ice pack down there for a week.
What odds was it, Dino? Brown. Was it a chance?
Yeah, it was about 8 to 1. But no one could believe he just kept chiming into the race. Like, the vision, go back and watch the vision. It is hilarious. You won't be able to watch it and not laugh.
And let's spare a thought for that man's plums right now.
Yeah.
Because they're going through it.
I hope he's had kids already, Dino.
Yeah, so do I.
That might limit the amount of time. Did you see the Oscars yesterday? It was a full day yesterday.
Yeah, it was chockers. I saw Kimmel's monologue. I saw the winners. Any takeaways?
John Cena was the highlight.
Oh.
Did you see John Cena presenting best costume, Brown Dog? I know you were watching the cricket, and I know you were watching Zach was his name, bouncing up and down and smashing in his nuts in the Adelaide Cup. But did you see John Cena's performance where he walked out on stage to recreate the famous 1974 streaker that ran out behind the host?
He was in
and he
better
had to
nick.
present best costume.
Yeah, I saw it. I did see it. It was good stuff. It had the crowd in stitches. He's in good nick. I wonder if that was the Illuminati making him do something like that to just embarrass himself. you know?
Well, it feels a bit like that. Like, John, you can say no to these sorts of things, you know?
Well, you can't you? Like, he was up there, because he's Ricky Stanicky, so he came out there. What's Ricky Stanicky on? Was that a movie?
I don't know, but it's
I
fun
don't
to
even know
say.
what Ricky Stanicky is anyway.
Um,
But the fact is, though, he's a poor man's rock. isn't he? Like, he's a poor man, Dwayne Johnson. Like, let's be honest. Like, John Cena's trying his best.
Yeah,
but
man.
at one stage, I think I saw him doing America's version of Wipeout. I thought The Rock wouldn't lower
The
himself
Rock
to that.
wouldn't do that, brother.
Definitely wouldn't lower himself to walking out on stage nude.
Yeah, no.
Lucky he didn't ride in the Adelaide Cup yesterday. Otherwise, you would have been able to see his plums behind that presentation card.
John.
But Brown Dog, take us behind? What's it actually like? Because as soon as I saw him, I thought, Brown Dog, that's Brown Dog from Full Monty. So, Brown Dog, what's it like to be out on stage in front of a full theatre of people on a cold, cold night, knowing you've got nothing to protect you?
Campbell, do you have pack of confidence?
It's daunting. No, I don't.
You don't have pack of confidence?
I'll say this. I only played a small role in the Full Monty.
Small being the key, right?
BT played the main role, let me tell you.
And I had Chris Smith to my
Civil
left.
War cannon.
And I had Jet Kenny to my right.
Big Bryce cannon.
So I had two extremely well-ripped, good-looking guys either side of me. They had some pyrotechnics across the front row, which obviously when we did throw the hat, and the big reveal came, our pyrotechnics would go off, so people wouldn't really be able to see too much. But the only firework that didn't take off was the one right in front of me. So I threw the hat. You can leave your hat on, bang, and I stood there, and I immediately noticed that, okay, the firework hasn't gone off.
No fireworks?
No. And they told us to pause there for dramatic effect for 10 seconds or so, and I looked to my left, I looked to my right, and I went, who stole my dick? I ran off the stage.
Would you describe that class as an eclectic group of peckers?
It was. It certainly was.
Yeah.
We wore G-strings as well, which was quite restrictive. You know what I mean? But it's not like boxer shorts that gives you a little bit of time to flow, and I need all the flow I can get.
So did you have the G-strings on and then you ripped the G-strings off?
Yeah, ripped them off. They were part of the throwing act into the crowd. But
did Brian have a bit of...
Should have taken a Camagra before I went out there.
Shut up, brother.
Did Brian have a bit of overflow, if you want to, for want of a better term, when he had his G-banger on? Was there a bit sort of slipping out the side?
He was behind me, so I couldn't actually turn and see him, but he did make specific instructions to Channel 7 because they shot that last scene from the back, right?
Yeah.
From the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And BT was meant to be right in the middle of the back. So basically the camera would have been shooting right up his arse.
Yes. Where it should be.
He made sure that he moved well and truly to the left.
And a big hello to our new sponsor, Camagra.
Oh, that is magnificent. Jeez, I tell you what, your heart would have dropped when that firework didn't fire off.
My heart dropped at the first rehearsal when the first time we actually did the audition and went fully nude.
Yeah.
And I went, oh no.
Oh, no. What?
I'm outmatched. I'm outgunned.
Oh
Big Brian.
I did.
Stand behind me, bro. That's what you thought.
The last thing you want to hear during an erotic moment is,
That's right.
all right, ads, back in a second.
This is Brownie's Podcast.
Welcome back to Brownie's Podcast. Hit us a follow on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. Anything I missed there, Beck? Or I got it all?
Well, all good.
At
Perfect.
Brownie's Podcast, John.
It's absolutely flying. We've got many fans out there, including, I think Eminem's just followed us, Dino,
Big.
after your histrionics at the music festival on the weekend. How did it all go?
I went to Golden Plains Music Festival, Campbell.
Surely that was the worst thing ever with the heat.
Brother, it was, I don't know why I did it. Like, I had a great time still, but it was 37 each day.
Tent?
The tent is in the dirt.
Oh, yuck.
And you know-
Showers?
Yeah, I had a shower and it cost me like $18. But
What?
Yeah, it was worth
They
it.
charge you for water?
Yeah, you have to get a token, man.
Oh my God.
I got
Thieves.
I got 3 tokens.
Did ya?
But 37 degrees, you think I'm not a young man anymore, and I really was questioning my decisions.
Yeah, too hot.
Yeah, too hot. And the heat wave just matched up with this one weekend where there was Pitch Music Festival where someone died, JB. There was this one and another one.
They called it off, yeah.
You got to call it sometimes.
Too old for that.
Brown, any enjoyment whatsoever, though? Like, what do? You take an esky with you, or
Yeah, it's
you
BYO,
take
cans.
a few little jelly beans,
Cans
Or,
and no glass.
Good music?
Mate, you remember the streets? You're fit, but my gosh, don't you know it?
Nah.
No one? All
No one.
That was sick. King Stingray with
Never
that.
heard of him.
King Stingray?
No.
It was really good, man, but it's at some point you got to go, I can't. Humans aren't supposed to be in the dirt in 37 degrees without proper shade.
That would be my worst nightmare.
And you
doing
can't
that.
escape it.
No, you can't. Once you're there, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Amongst all the reprobates.
Hey, can I run a theory by you guys? We're back to footy here.
Yeah.
Tom Lynch's contract is up next year. He would have seen the GC with a bit of spark back.
Ooh.
Tom Lynch is going back to the Gold Coast. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point you bring up, Dino. Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's actually true or not because I think he lives down. Well, he's from Sorrento, so he's a Victorian boy. But if you had the choice, if Gold Coast had their salary cap room next year, would you go for Tom Lynch or Dustin Martin?
Tom Lynch.
Lynch.
Yeah, I think Tommy Lynch.
Even though you got Ben King and young Jed Wilder, I think he's going to be a
and-
good player, Lukosius.
But positionally, Tom Lynch's body has more chance of surviving the next 3-4 years. Am I wrong?
Yeah, well, he's pretty athletic. He just needs to He just needs to have a good run at it. He can play with his attributes for another 2 or 3 seasons, no doubt whatsoever.
It is Little Richmond, Dino. You make a good point.
Thank you.
Like, it struck me as Little Richmond the other day when I walked in to call the game.
Thank you, John.
With Gaz.
Yep. Yes,
And
sir.
I was like Gaz's bloody Uber driver all weekend. Anyway, I picked him up from the hotel, took him to Carrara. It's called People First Stadium now, which is actually a bank. And but it struck me as Little Richmond. We saw Rancy walking through the car park. Alex Rance is up there. Thought he could have played for Richmond in the first half, the way they were going.
Tell
They've
me,
got a few off-field staff
is
there.
he still a
Sean
handsome-
Griggs, one of the assistant coach.
Rancy still handsome as hell.
Oh, mate. Like, he
Magnificent.
looks unbelievable. Like, he
Magnificent.
looks better than when he played. Magnificent.
The
And
two
you
blokes.
think he'd still roll out in that first half, like I said, against Richmond. But Dimmer has assembled Little Richmond up there. So would have been frustrating, and it'd be hard for the Richmond veterans and the people still associated with Richmond when they got their ass kicked like that, walking away from there going, oh, geez, Dimmer got out at the right time. How must that make me feel?
Dog.
Gaz made a good point last night on the couch about that.
There's 2 or 3 players that are more ripped now than when they played. Alex Rance,
And
Chris
Lance
Judd,
Whitnell.
Paul Acuria,
Jonathan Brown.
and Chris Tarrant.
No,
Not sure about you, JB.
Can you see the monitor?
No, let's look at this monitor.
Look at
Jonathan's flexing, and we should say, welcome back to your shoulders. We hadn't seen
worked
those
hard in the
those
off-season.
suckers for a long
John
time.
Cena-esque.
And they are Cena-esque, brother. Well
I'd
done.
be willing to walk across the stage
Yeah.
with the a little card, a little presentation card on, and that's it, Dino, at the moment, the way I'm defined.
Hey, back at the MCG, Tigers Carlton. That's going to be...
It's going to be massive. Yeah, well, the thing
Footy's
is,
back in Melbourne.
yeah, we've had our round 0. Now, football here in Victoria is going to kick off, and they'll get 90,000 there at Thursday night. No doubt about it. Massive game.
I think round 0 is worth sticking with, though. Massive numbers, massive crowds, and it doesn't deter from what's going to happen on Thursday night, Dog.
No, I agree. I thought it was a good concept. You've just sometimes got to put economics ahead of emotion, and the people that were saying, "Oh, it's shocking," this, it's a fake first round of the people that are talking from just emotion. But the economic side of it and the rating side of it and all that sort of thing, massive tick from the AFL. Well done. Credit where credit's due.
Well, I think the way they've designed it, the first 7, so essentially each team plays 6 games in the first 7 rounds.
Yep.
So it's not gimmicky because it's not like all the teams that played last week have the bye this week, which would be odd after only 1 game of football, wouldn't it? So they've spread it out over those first 7 weeks. Everyone's similar. I think it's a great way to start it, but I can't wait. Thursday night, footy's going to be massive. Richmond will be looking to bounce back, and obviously Carlton will be able to looking to continue their trend. It's going to be huge. Dan, are you going?
I'm definitely going to go, but there's also nothing more exciting than when old Melbourne teams are firing. We saw that with the resurgence of Carlton, what it does to this city. I want the Bombers to do something. I'm sick of being disappointed by a team I don't even like.
I'm doing that game on Saturday, Essendon and Hawthorn. How good's that? The old line in the sand game, and they're traditional rivals, so it'd be huge, wouldn't it? That'd be a dream for the AFL if Essendon were firing while Collingwood and, obviously Richmond's turning on the other side, but Richmond's been good of late. Carlton's been thereabouts. So the big teams have been flourishing the last few years, apart from the Bombers.
They got to fire up the Hawks because they rolled into round 1 last year. I went to that game and they played in round 1 and got absolutely pummeled. So they can't dish that up again round 1 against the old foe, or I'll be disappointed.
Hey.
Why don't you get down there at training? Why don't you give back to your old club?
I should.
Why don't you get down there, mate, and give him a good old-fashioned fire-up, big pep talk before
Well, John,
the-
even if you just had a presence down there, change the urinal cakes, do some mopping.
I went to the MCG on Wednesday. It was. Spoke to the Hawthorn Coterie group with Matty Lloyd.
How much?
And me and Matty were up on stage, just sort of reliving the
Shoots.
old rivalry.
The tax man, no?
You wouldn't believe this. In the crowd, just as a spectator.
A spectator, yes.
Just invited by a friend to come to this lunch, didn't know what was going on, was Brad Sewell.
Really?
Yeah. I said to Sully, mate, come up on stage and you're the person that should be talking about this, not me. And he said, mate, I can't because I can't recollect anything. So there's no point in him talking. But
Brown Dog also bought a big shovel on the way home to bury all that cash.
But Jonathan, as we know, you have to wrap it in plastic first so the bugs don't get to the cash.
Exactly.
Did you wrap it in plastic?
Remember where you put it, so don't sell your house. And then rock up about 6 weeks later once the new tenants have moved in like Billy Brownless with an excavator and start digging up the backyard.
I'm sure he would have loved to have been named then. But oh well, we all know the story. Hey, we can't wait for this round. Say something about my Eagles real quick, just something.
At least they didn't lose this week.
Well, we're going to talk about it more on Friday, aren't they? So the Eagles played Port Adelaide, though, but we'll get more into that. But yeah, the Eagles, they're all about Harley Reid, the saviour.
Oh, he got whacked in the nuts, right? And it was the front page of the West Australian.
Really?
For a nut shot. Normally, you have to, it's more of a subscription thing.
His biggest thing since Chris Judd and probably the whole Ben Cousins thing. So it's a bit of pressure on the young fella. Anyway.
Degenerates, have a great week. We'll speak to you on Friday. And hopefully Warwick Capper will be in studio.
Oh, no, we don't want that. WTB, baby.